Hello and welcome to Extreme DX. After an interlude to rearrange the laboratory, I'm back, and as I promised, I'm going to start the process of showing you how to make your own DA-9 clone. Again, this is a DA-3 on the outside, but inside it's got the DA-9 circuit board, which I reverse engineered. But in today's video, I'm going to be much more elementary. I'm going to start with the ferrite bar. If you've been doing this as long as I have, you may have a collection that looks something like this. By far, the most useful of these are the 200 millimeter by 8 millimeter diameter. They seem to have been very common in receivers. And I bought a whole lot off of eBay from the Russians when you could still get them. I looked on eBay recently, you can still get some, but the quantity is much less. You can't get the nice deal of 20 of them or 10 of them, and you can probably end up with ones that are shorter, like 8 millimeter by 140 or 160. They also had some of these super diameter 10 millimeter, which I actually started at one time to try to wind my own, but that's of limited use unless you know the correct value of inductance, and therefore it'll allow you to know the correct number of turns. One way of making a more robust ferrite rod antenna is to take some of these 8 millimeter by 200 millimeter rods and connect them together. We're going to start with just a single 200 millimeter by 8 millimeter ferrite rod, because that's the most some of you will have in your collection. From there, we'll move on to the 10 millimeter diameter ferrite rod. The other thing you're going to need to make an active antenna is a tuning capacitor. There are many types out there that you may have salvaged out of old radios, but these are best. The old two-section AM radio types from tube radios, etc. Air core is a little bit better than these plastic core because you have a little bit better isolation. There is some leakage through plastic in the plastic type tuning capacitors. You might be able to find these in an AM/FM radio. You might be able to find some that were single section from old crystal radios. But these are by far most common. I was able to get a group of 5 of them on eBay for about $60, which isn't too bad. I find that works best is a tuning capacitor that gives you about 400 to 450 picofarad when fully closed, and as low as possible when it's open. These old dual section from old tube type AM radios have about 9.6 to 365 in the large section and about 160 picofarad maximum in the others. Now, one thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get rid of these little mica trim caps, because you're after the largest possible difference between fully enclosed and fully open, the largest capacitance range. Again, you might not be able to find these, might not only be able to have the plastic ones, which are only a couple hundred picofarad. That will affect the number of turns on your ferrite bar antenna. But for now, we're just going to assume that you have one of these, or you can easily get one of these. And it has about a 10-to-1 range on the capacitance, and that's measuring it with a meter. And I've got some parasitic capacitance in the lead, so I may have a good 12-to-1 difference in capacitance across the mechanical motion. Okay, let's have a look at what's inside the McKay DIMAC. First, looking at the head, you can see an impressive ferrite bar. I measured it, it's 30.5 millimeters long and 19 millimeters in diameter. The coil, which is right in the dead center of the ferrite bar, has 37 turns of wire. Now, a lot of you who've taken apart radios are used to the coil being on one end or the other, And I think that has more to do with fine-tuning inductance, or perhaps making the connections to the tuning capacitor shorter. You'll also notice this foam on either side, plus the fact that it's made out of metal on 3 sides, and the top is wood that's not shielded. Now, the reason why I think they're doing this is to electrostatically shield it. You might be able to find some aluminum U-tube or something out at Home Depot. U-tube, yeah. Wonder where they got that term from. Anyway, if you are going to electrostatically shield, make sure to do it on only 3 sides and leave a gap so that you don't have effectively one turn around the ferrite bar, which would detune it. I had to fabricate these ends because this unit, when it came on eBay, didn't have any. I don't know if the original ends were shielded as well. I suspect they might have been, but I can't find any evidence of paint being scraped on the inside to make contact with metal, so perhaps not. Okay, going inside the base of the DA-9, you'll see here is the DA-9 board that I reverse engineered. I used their power supply, which is already nice and quiet, although I laid out the pattern for their power supply on this amplifier board that I made. I put their original amplifier board in a anti-static bag and taped it to the side. But here you see the single section tuning capacitor, and this is where the wires come in from the head. And you notice they did scrape the paint so that they have good contact between this base, which is shielded entirely with a metal bottom, this metal neck, and the 3-sided U-channel, or whatever type of channel you want to call it, on the top. Now for a couple of measurements. First of all, the antenna coil. It is 190 microhenries. The tuning capacitor, fully engaged, 394 picofarad. Fully open, 38 picofarad. The wire itself, 26 picofarad. Did a quick double check with the nano VNA just to make sure that these results are consistent, and the capacitor came out about the same as it did with the cheap little meter. I didn't get any better results for the inductance. As a matter of fact, it showed twice the inductance that the little meter did. So we're going to have to do a fair amount of experimentation. That'll be about it for this time. I'll get more into actually constructing an LC head the next time.